Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. Tonight we will be exploring the minds and discoveries of humanity's greatest scientists, the men and women who dared to question, to experiment, and to illuminate the darkness of ignorance with the light of understanding. These are the people who changed everything, who looked at the world with fresh eyes and saw not mystery alone, but puzzles waiting to be solved. From ancient philosophers to modern pioneers, their stories weave together into a tapestry of human curiosity and brilliance. If you enjoy these quiet explorations, I invite you to like and subscribe or share a simple thought down in the comments. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is rest, settle in, and allow the calm of discovery to carry you. Let us begin. The ancient foundations. Long before laboratories and peer review, before the scientific method itself was formalized, there were thinkers who laid the groundwork. They looked at the stars, the earth, the human body, and asked the simplest yet most profound question: why? Aristotle observed the natural world with systematic care. In ancient Greece, around 350 BCE, a philosopher named Aristotle began compiling observations about everything he could see: animals, plants, weather, motion, the cosmos itself. He did not have microscopes or telescopes. He had only his eyes, his mind, and an insatiable curiosity. Aristotle believed that knowledge came from careful observation and logical reasoning. He dissected animals to understand their anatomy. He watched embryos develop to understand reproduction. He classified hundreds of species, creating the first systematic biology. While many of his conclusions would later be revised, his method was revolutionary. He taught that the world was knowable, that patterns could be found in nature, and that human reason could uncover them. For nearly 2,000 years, his works formed the foundation of Western science. His influence stretched across continents and centuries, shaping how we think about classification, logic, and the very nature of knowledge itself. Archimedes discovered principles that still govern engineering today. In Syracuse, on the island of Sicily, another Greek mind was at work. Archimedes, born around 287 BCE, was fascinated by mathematics and mechanics. He understood that the world operated according to mathematical principles, and he set out to discover them. He calculated the value of pi with remarkable accuracy. He developed the principles of leverage and pulleys, supposedly declaring that given a lever long enough and a place to stand, he could move the earth itself. His most famous moment came in a bathtub. Tasked with determining whether a crown was pure gold, he noticed that his body displaced water when he submerged himself. Suddenly, he understood. Objects displace water equal to their volume. By measuring displacement, he could determine density. He leapt from the bath and ran through the streets, shouting, "Eureka!" which means, "I have found it." This principle of buoyancy, now called Archimedes' principle, governs everything from ship design to hot air balloons. Archimedes also invented machines of war to defend his city, including massive cranes that could lift enemy ships from the water. Though he preferred abstract mathematics to practical inventions, his genius bridged both worlds. When Roman soldiers finally breached Syracuse's walls during a siege, legend says they found Archimedes drawing geometric figures in the sand. "Do not disturb my circles," he reportedly said to a soldier, who then killed him. Even in death, his devotion to understanding remained absolute. Hypatia taught mathematics and astronomy in ancient Alexandria. Centuries later, in the great library city of Alexandria, a woman rose to prominence in a field dominated by men. Hypatia, born around 360 CE, was a mathematician, astronomer, and philosopher. She taught publicly, drawing students from across the Mediterranean with her lectures on geometry, algebra, and the movement of celestial bodies. In an era when women rarely received education, she became one of the most respected scholars of her time. Hypatia worked with her father to write commentaries on classical mathematical texts, preserving ancient knowledge that might otherwise have been lost. She improved the design of the astrolabe, an instrument used to measure the positions of stars and planets. She corresponded with scholars throughout the known world, contributing to discussions on philosophy and science. Her students described her as brilliant, eloquent, and deeply committed to rational thought. Tragically, Hypatia's life ended in violence. In an era of religious and political turmoil, she became a target. In 415 CE, a mob attacked and killed her, an act that many historians view as symbolizing the end of the classical age of learning. Yet her legacy endured. She remains a symbol of intellectual courage, a reminder that the pursuit of knowledge often requires bravery, and that wisdom recognizes no gender. The revolution begins. For centuries after the fall of Rome, much scientific knowledge lay dormant in Europe, preserved in monasteries and in the Islamic world. But beginning in the Renaissance, a revolution began. Thinkers started to question ancient authorities, to conduct experiments, and to develop new ways of understanding nature. Nicolaus Copernicus placed the sun at the center of the solar system. In Poland, a canon named Nicolaus Copernicus spent decades working on a revolutionary idea. For over 1,000 years, everyone believed that Earth sat motionless at the center of the universe, with the sun, moon, planets, and stars all revolving around it. This geocentric model, codified by the ancient astronomer Ptolemy, was endorsed by the Church and seemed to match everyday experience. After all, we do not feel the Earth moving beneath our feet, but Copernicus noticed problems. The planets sometimes appeared to move backward in the sky, requiring complex mathematical tricks to explain. What if, he wondered, Earth was not the center? What if we, too, were in motion? He began calculating what the heavens would look like if the sun sat at the center, with Earth and the other planets orbiting around it. The math became suddenly elegant. The retrograde motion of planets made perfect sense when you accounted for Earth's own movement. Copernicus wrote his findings in a book called On the Revolutions of the Heavenly Spheres, but he hesitated to publish it. He knew the idea would be controversial, contradicting both common sense and religious teaching. Only on his deathbed in 1543 did the printed book finally reach him. The Copernican revolution, as it came to be called, did not happen overnight, but slowly, inexorably. His heliocentric model gained acceptance. Humanity had to confront a humbling truth. We were not the center of everything. We were one world among others, orbiting an ordinary star. Galileo Galilei turned his telescope skyward and transformed astronomy. Decades later, in Italy, a mathematician named Galileo Galilei heard about a new Dutch invention, the telescope. In 1609, he built his own improved version and did something nobody had thought to do before. He pointed it at the night sky. What he saw astonished him. The moon was not a perfect sphere, but covered in mountains and craters. The Milky Way was not a glowing cloud, but countless individual stars too faint to see with the naked eye. Most remarkably, 4 moons orbited Jupiter, visible as tiny points of light, shifting position night after night. These moons were crucial. If objects could orbit Jupiter, then not everything revolved around Earth. Here was direct evidence supporting the Copernican model. Galileo also observed the phases of Venus, which could only occur if Venus orbited the Sun, not Earth. He published his findings, and they caused an uproar. The Catholic Church, which had endorsed the geocentric view, saw his work as heretical. In 1633, Galileo was put on trial and forced to recant his support for heliocentrism. He spent the rest of his life under house arrest. Yet truth cannot be suppressed forever. Galileo's observations stood. His work established a crucial principle: empirical evidence. What we can see and measure must take precedence over authority and tradition. He also made fundamental contributions to physics, studying motion, acceleration, and the behavior of falling objects. His experiments with rolling balls down inclined planes revealed that all objects fall at the same rate, regardless of their weight, overturning centuries of Aristotelian doctrine. Galileo showed that nature speaks in the language of mathematics, and that careful observation and experimentation can reveal her secrets. Johannes Kepler discovered the laws of planetary motion. While Galileo watched through his telescope, another astronomer was revolutionizing our understanding of how planets move. Johannes Kepler, a German mathematician working in Prague, inherited decades of precise astronomical observations from his mentor, Tycho Brahe. Kepler believed that God had designed the universe according to mathematical principles, and he was determined to find them. For years, Kepler struggled to fit planetary orbits to perfect circles, as both ancient and contemporary astronomers assumed they must be. But the observations would not cooperate. Finally, in a leap of insight, Kepler abandoned circles. What if orbits were ellipses, ovals with the sun at one focus? Suddenly, everything fit. This became his first law of planetary motion. He went on to discover that planets move faster when closer to the sun and slower when farther away, sweeping out equal areas in equal times. His third law related the orbital period of a planet to its distance from the sun. Kepler's laws were not just descriptions. They were precise mathematical relationships that could predict planetary positions with unprecedented accuracy. Though he did not know why planets followed these rules, he had discovered the rules themselves. Decades later, Isaac Newton would show that Kepler's laws emerged naturally from the law of universal gravitation. Kepler's work demonstrated that the heavens followed the same mathematical principles as Earth, that celestial mechanics could be understood and predicted. The cosmos was not mysterious and arbitrary, but orderly and comprehensible. The age of enlightenment and discovery. The 17th and 18th centuries saw an explosion of scientific progress. New instruments, new mathematical techniques, and new ways of thinking converged. Scientists began to see themselves as part of a community, sharing findings and building on each other's work. Isaac Newton unified heaven and earth with universal gravitation. In England, a young man watched an apple fall from a tree. This moment, whether literal or legendary, sparked one of the greatest insights in the history of science. Isaac Newton realized that the force pulling the apple downward might be the same force keeping the moon in orbit around Earth. What if gravity was universal, acting between all masses everywhere in the cosmos? Newton developed the mathematics to prove it. He invented calculus, a new form of mathematics capable of handling motion and change. Using calculus, he showed that a single law of gravitation could explain both terrestrial and celestial phenomena. Apples fall, planets orbit, tides rise and fall, all because masses attract each other with a force proportional to their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. This was stunning. For the first time, one simple equation unified heaven and earth. Newton published his findings in 1,687 inches, the Principia Mathematica, one of the most important scientific works ever written. In it, he also laid out his 3 laws of motion, which describe how objects move when forces act on them. These laws became the foundation of classical mechanics, governing everything from the motion of billiard balls to the trajectories of spacecraft. Newton's work showed that the universe operates according to precise, discoverable laws. He demonstrated that human reason, armed with mathematics, could unlock the deepest secrets of nature. His legacy shaped physics for over 200 years. Antoine Lavoisier established modern chemistry. While Newton revolutionized physics, chemistry remained mired in alchemy and mysticism. Substances were thought to contain invisible essences and phlogiston, mysterious substances, released during burning. But in the late 18th century, a French nobleman and scientist named Antoine Lavoisier brought clarity and rigor to the field. Lavoisier conducted meticulous experiments, carefully weighing substances before and after chemical reactions. He discovered that mass is conserved in chemical reactions. Nothing is created or destroyed, only transformed. He identified oxygen and recognized its role in combustion and respiration, overthrowing the phlogiston theory. He helped develop a systematic way of naming chemical compounds, replacing alchemical symbols with clear nomenclature based on composition. Lavoisier essentially founded modern chemistry, transforming it from an art into a science. He demonstrated that careful measurement and quantitative analysis were essential tools for understanding matter. His textbook, Elementary Treatise of Chemistry, organized chemical knowledge systematically and established principles still taught today. Tragically, Lavoisier's brilliance did not save him from the chaos of the French Revolution. In 1794, he was guillotined during the Reign of Terror. The mathematician Joseph Louis Lagrange lamented, "It took them only an instant to cut off that head, but France may not produce another like it in a century." Benjamin Franklin investigated the nature of electricity. In colonial America, a printer and statesman named Benjamin Franklin became fascinated by electrical phenomena. In the mid-18th century, electricity was a curiosity demonstrated at parlor shows, poorly understood, and seemingly useless. Franklin conducted systematic experiments, proposing that electricity was a single fluid that could be transferred between objects, not two different fluids, as others believed. His most famous experiment, flying a kite in a thunderstorm, was extraordinarily dangerous but proved a crucial point. Lightning was electrical in nature. Franklin drew sparks from a key attached to the kite string, demonstrating that the heavens and the laboratory shared the same electrical force. This insight led him to invent the lightning rod, which protected buildings by providing a safe path for electrical discharge. It was one of the first practical applications of scientific understanding. Franklin also introduced terminology still used today, including positive and negative charge, battery, and conductor. Though he made his living as a printer and spent much of his life in politics and diplomacy, his contributions to electrical science were foundational. He showed that even complex natural phenomena like lightning could be understood through careful experimentation, and that scientific knowledge could be put to practical use, improving human life and safety. Carl Linnaeus organized the living world into a systematic classification. In Sweden, a botanist named Carl Linnaeus faced a daunting task. The natural world was vast and chaotic, with thousands of plants and animals known, and more being discovered constantly. How could anyone make sense of such diversity? Linnaeus decided to create a system, a way of organizing life itself. In 1735, he published Systema Naturae, which introduced his method of binomial nomenclature. Every organism would receive a two-part Latin name, genus and species. Humans became Homo sapiens, dogs became Canis familiaris, This system provided a universal language for biologists, allowing scientists anywhere in the world to discuss the same organisms without confusion. Linnaeus also grouped organisms into a hierarchy, species into genera, genera into families, families into orders, and so on. His classification was based on physical similarities, particularly in reproductive structures. While he did not understand why organisms fell into these patterns, he created a framework that made biological diversity comprehensible. Later, Darwin's theory of evolution would explain that Linnaeus's groupings reflected actual genealogical relationships, branches of the tree of life. Linnaeus's system, refined but still fundamentally intact, remains the foundation of biological taxonomy. Every time a scientist names a new species, they stand on Linnaeus's shoulders. The 19th century, an era of transformation. The 19th century was perhaps the most scientifically productive period in human history. The Industrial Revolution provided new tools and technologies. The expansion of universities created communities of researchers, and a series of revolutionary ideas transformed multiple fields simultaneously. Charles Darwin revealed the mechanism of evolution. In 1831, a young English naturalist named Charles Darwin boarded HMS Beagle for a 5-year voyage around the world. He was supposed to serve as the ship's naturalist, collecting specimens and making observations. What he discovered on that journey would change biology forever. Darwin noticed patterns. On the Galapagos Islands, finches on different islands had different beak shapes, each suited to the available food sources. Fossils in South America resembled living species but were distinct. Everywhere he looked, he saw variation within species and relationships between species. Over the following decades, Darwin developed his theory of evolution by natural selection. The idea was elegant. Organisms produce more offspring than can survive. These offspring vary in their traits. Those with traits better suited to their environment are more likely to survive and reproduce. Over many generations, beneficial traits accumulate, while harmful ones disappear. Species change over time, shaped by their environments. Given enough time, populations could diverge so much, they became entirely new species. Darwin hesitated to publish. He knew the implications were profound and controversial, suggesting that humans were not specially created, but were part of the same evolutionary process as all other life. Finally, in 1859, he published On the Origin of Species. The book caused an immediate sensation. Religious leaders denounced it. Scientists debated it. But the evidence was overwhelming. Darwin had explained not just that life evolved, but how. Evolution by natural selection became the unifying theory of biology, explaining the diversity of life, the fossil record, the distribution of species, and countless other observations. Darwin showed that humans were part of nature, subject to the same processes as every other organism. It was humbling and exhilarating all at once. Gregor Mendel discovered the principles of heredity in a quiet monastery garden. While Darwin explained how traits spread through populations, he could not explain how traits were inherited in the first place. That answer came from an unexpected source. An Augustinian friar named Gregor Mendel, working in a monastery garden in what is now the Czech Republic. Mendel was interested in how characteristics passed from parents to offspring. Between 1856 and 1863, he conducted thousands of meticulous experiments with pea plants, carefully crossbreeding them and recording the traits of their offspring. He focused on simple, distinct traits: tall versus short plants, green versus yellow seeds, smooth versus wrinkled seeds. What Mendel discovered was that traits were inherited in predictable patterns. Traits did not blend, as most people assumed. Instead, they were passed along as discrete units, what we now call genes. Some traits were dominant, masking recessive traits in the offspring. But recessive traits did not disappear. They could reappear in later generations. Mendel derived mathematical ratios that described these patterns with stunning precision. He published his findings in 1866, but the world paid little attention. His work was too far ahead of its time, and the implications were not understood. It was not until the early 20th century, after Mendel's death, that other scientists rediscovered his papers and realized their significance. Mendel had founded the science of genetics, revealing the mechanism by which evolution operated. Today, we know that his units of inheritance are sequences of DNA, the molecular instructions for building and operating living organisms. Mendel, the quiet monk with his pea plants, had glimpsed the code of life itself. Louis Pasteur proved that life does not arise spontaneously. For centuries, people believed in spontaneous generation, the idea that living things could arise from non-living matter. Maggots appeared on rotting meat, mice emerged from piles of grain, and microorganisms seemed to spring up everywhere. But a French chemist and microbiologist named Louis Pasteur demonstrated that this was an illusion. In a series of elegant experiments in the 1860s, Pasteur showed that microorganisms came from other microorganisms, not from the air or non-living matter. He used swan-necked flasks that allowed air in but trapped particles. Broth in these flasks remained sterile indefinitely, proving that germs in the air caused spoilage, not spontaneous generation. This work established the germ theory of disease, that many illnesses are caused by microorganisms. Pasteur went on to develop vaccines for rabies and anthrax, saving countless lives. He invented pasteurization, a process of heating liquids to kill harmful microbes without destroying the product itself. This made milk, wine, and beer safer to consume. His work laid the foundation for modern medicine and public health. By showing that diseases had specific, identifiable causes, he opened the door to prevention and treatment. Pasteur's career demonstrated the power of the scientific method applied to practical problems. His discoveries were not abstract theories, but concrete improvements to human welfare. He showed that understanding nature's mechanisms allowed us to work with them, to prevent disease, preserve food, and save lives. Science was not just knowledge for its own sake. It was a tool for making the world better. James Clerk Maxwell unified electricity, magnetism, and light. In Scotland, a physicist named James Clerk Maxwell was pondering a puzzle. Electricity and magnetism had been studied separately for decades. Scientists knew they were related. An electric current creates a magnetic field, and a moving magnet generates electricity, but the connection remained mysterious. Maxwell believed there must be a deeper unity. Working with mathematical equations, Maxwell built on the experimental work of Michael Faraday and others. In 1865, he published a set of 4 equations, now known as Maxwell's equations, that described all electric and magnetic phenomena. These equations were not just descriptions, they were predictive. When Maxwell solved them, he found something astonishing. They predicted the existence of waves, disturbances in electric and magnetic fields that propagated through space. Even more remarkably, when Maxwell calculated the speed of these electromagnetic waves, he got a familiar number, the speed of light. Could it be? Maxwell realized that light itself was an electromagnetic wave, a rippling oscillation of electric and magnetic fields. Visible light, he proposed, was just one type of electromagnetic radiation. There should be other types, with longer or shorter wavelengths. Maxwell's prediction was confirmed decades later when Heinrich Hertz discovered radio waves. The electromagnetic spectrum, from radio waves to gamma rays, was unified by Maxwell's equations. His work stands as one of the greatest intellectual achievements in physics, showing that three apparently different phenomena, electricity, magnetism, and light, were actually manifestations of a single underlying reality. Albert Einstein later kept a photograph of Maxwell on his wall, acknowledging the profound influence of this unification on his own work. Dmitry Mendeleev organized the elements into the periodic table. In Russia, a chemist named Dmitry Mendeleev was frustrated. By the 1860s, more than 60 chemical elements had been discovered, each with its own properties. But was there any order to them? Were they random, or did some underlying pattern connect them? Mendeleev believed there must be a pattern, and he set out to find it. He wrote the properties of each element on cards and arranged them in various ways. Finally, in 1869, he found an arrangement that worked. When elements were ordered by increasing atomic weight and grouped by similar chemical properties, patterns emerged. Elements in the same column behaved similarly. Properties varied regularly as you moved across the rows. Most remarkably, Mendeleev's table had gaps. He argued that these gaps represented elements not yet discovered. Furthermore, he predicted the properties of these missing elements with stunning accuracy. When gallium, scandium, and germanium were discovered in the following decades, their properties matched Mendeleev's predictions almost exactly. The periodic table was vindicated. We now understand why the periodic table works. Elements are defined by the number of protons in their nucleus, and their chemical properties are determined by the arrangement of electrons around that nucleus. Mendeleev did not know about protons or electrons, yet he discerned the underlying order. The periodic table remains one of the most powerful organizing principles in science, a single chart that encapsulates the behavior of all matter. Every chemistry classroom displays it, a testament to Mendeleev's insight. Marie Curie pioneered the study of radioactivity and became the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. In Paris, at the end of the 19th century, a Polish scientist named Marie Curie, working with her husband Pierre, began investigating a mysterious phenomenon discovered by Henri Becquerel. Certain materials, like uranium, emitted invisible rays that could expose photographic plates. What was the source of this energy? Marie Curie threw herself into the work with extraordinary determination. She processed tons of pitch blende, a uranium-rich ore, in a drafty shed, gradually isolating two new elements that were intensely radioactive: polonium, named for her native Poland, and radium. The work was grueling and dangerous. She often carried test tubes of radioactive material in her pocket, unaware of the hazards. Curie's research established radioactivity as a fundamental property of certain elements, evidence of processes occurring at the atomic level. In 1903, she shared the Nobel Prize in Physics with Pierre Curie and Henri Becquerel, becoming the first woman to receive a Nobel Prize. After Pierre's tragic death in 1906, she continued her research with even greater intensity. In 1911, she won a second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry, for isolating pure radium. She remains the only person to win Nobel Prizes in two different sciences. Marie Curie's life was one of relentless dedication to science. During World War I, she developed mobile X-ray units to help diagnose injuries at the front lines. Her discoveries laid the foundation for nuclear physics and had practical applications in medicine, particularly in cancer treatment. The radiation exposure from her years of work eventually took its toll. She died in 1934 from aplastic anemia, likely caused by prolonged exposure to radioactive materials. Even today, her laboratory notebooks are too radioactive to handle safely without protection. Her legacy endures as a symbol of scientific passion, perseverance, and the courage to venture into the unknown. The early 20th century, quantum leaps, and relativity. The early 20th century shattered old certainties. Two revolutions, quantum mechanics and relativity, overturned classical physics and revealed a universe stranger and more wonderful than anyone had imagined. Max Planck introduced the quantum, changing physics forever. In 1900, a German physicist named Max Planck was struggling with a problem involving blackbody radiation, the light emitted by hot objects. Classical physics predicted that hot objects should emit infinite amounts of ultraviolet radiation, which obviously did not happen. Planck tried a desperate mathematical trick. He assumed that energy could only be emitted or absorbed in discrete chunks, or quanta, rather than in any amount. To his surprise, this assumption solved the problem. The equations worked perfectly. But Planck was troubled by what he had done. Energy coming in chunks defied everything physics had established. He spent years trying to reconcile his formula with classical theory. But the quantum was real. Other scientists began finding evidence for quantization in different phenomena. Planck had opened a door to a new realm of physics. The implications were staggering. At the smallest scales, energy, matter, and even time and space might be fundamentally grainy rather than smooth. The quantum revolution had begun, and it would transform our understanding of atoms, light, and the very nature of reality itself. Planck received the Nobel Prize in 1918, though he never fully embraced the radical interpretation of quantum mechanics developed by later physicists. Nevertheless, his insight was the seed from which an entirely new branch of physics grew. Albert Einstein reimagined space, time, and gravity. In 1905, an unknown patent clerk in Switzerland published 4 papers in a single year, any one of which would have been a landmark achievement. The clerk was Albert Einstein, and those papers launched a revolution. One explained the photoelectric effect using Planck's quantum idea, showing that light behaves as particles, called photons. Another explained Brownian motion, the jittery movement of pollen grains in water, providing clear evidence for the existence of atoms. But the most famous paper introduced special relativity. Einstein started with a simple premise. The laws of physics are the same for all observers moving at constant velocity, and the speed of light is the same for everyone, regardless of how they are moving. From these assumptions, he derived astonishing conclusions. Time and space are not absolute, but relative, depending on the observer's motion. Moving clocks run slower. Moving objects contract in the direction of motion. And mass and energy are equivalent, related by the famous equation E equals mc squared. If that were not enough, Einstein spent the next decade developing general relativity, published in 1915. This theory reimagined gravity not as a force, but as a curvature of space-time itself. Massive objects like stars and planets bend the fabric of space and time around them, and other objects move along the curves, what we perceive as gravitational attraction. General relativity predicted phenomena never before imagined: black holes, gravitational waves, and the expansion of the universe itself. Einstein's theories were confirmed by observation after observation. Light bending around the sun during an eclipse, the precise orbit of Mercury, the gravitational redshift of light, all matched his predictions. Einstein became the most famous scientist of the 20th century, a symbol of genius. But beyond his celebrity, his work fundamentally altered our understanding of the cosmos. Space and time, once thought to be the unchanging stage on which events played out, were revealed to be dynamic, flexible, and intertwined. Reality was stranger and more beautiful than classical physics had ever suggested. Niels Bohr developed the quantum model of the atom. While Einstein was revolutionizing our understanding of the large-scale universe, other physicists were probing the smallest scales. The atom, once thought to be indivisible, had been shown to have internal structure, a tiny, dense nucleus surrounded by electrons. But classical physics could not explain how atoms were stable. According to classical theory, orbiting electrons should radiate energy and spiral into the nucleus in a fraction of a second. In 1913, a Danish physicist named Niels Bohr proposed a radical solution. He suggested that electrons could only occupy certain specific orbits, each with a fixed energy. Electrons could jump between these orbits by absorbing or emitting a photon with exactly the right energy, but they could not exist in between. This quantization of electron orbits explained the stability of atoms and the specific wavelengths of light they emitted and absorbed. Bohr's model was a breakthrough, though it was only a stepping stone. Over the following decades, physicists, including Werner Heisenberg, Erwin Schrodinger, and Paul Dirac, developed a fuller quantum mechanics that replaced Bohr's simple orbits with probability clouds and wave functions. Bohr himself played a central role in this development, particularly in articulating the Copernican interpretation, which addressed the strange, probabilistic nature of quantum reality. Quantum mechanics revealed a world that defied intuition. Particles could behave like waves. Measurement affected reality. Uncertainty was fundamental, not just a matter of ignorance. Bohr once said, "Anyone who is not shocked by quantum theory has not understood it." His work established that the atomic realm operates according to rules utterly different from our everyday experience, rules that are nonetheless precise and predictive. Werner Heisenberg formulated the uncertainty principle. In 1927, a young German physicist named Werner Heisenberg made a discovery that shook the foundations of physics. He found that there are fundamental limits to what we can know about a particle. The more precisely you measure a particle's position, the less precisely you can know its momentum, and vice versa. This was not a limitation of measurement technology. It was a fundamental property of nature itself. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle meant that the universe, at its most fundamental level, is not deterministic. You cannot predict the future with absolute certainty, because you cannot know the present with absolute precision. This troubled many physicists, including Einstein, who famously objected that God does not play dice with the universe. Heisenberg countered that nature simply does not allow us to know everything simultaneously. The uncertainty principle has profound implications. It explains why electrons do not collapse into the nucleus, why atoms have finite sizes, and why quantum tunneling allows particles to pass through barriers they classically should not be able to cross. It also means that empty space is not truly empty, but seethes with virtual particles popping in and out of existence, constrained only by the uncertainty principle. Heisenberg's insight was not just a technical detail, it was a statement about the fundamental nature of reality, a reality that is irreducibly probabilistic. Erwin Schrodinger wrote the equation that describes quantum waves. In 1926, an Austrian physicist named Erwin Schrodinger approached the quantum problem from a different angle than Heisenberg. Instead of focusing on particles and discrete jumps, Schrodinger treated electrons as waves, described by a wave function. He derived an equation, now called the Schrodinger equation, that governs how this wave function evolves over time. The Schrodinger equation is to quantum mechanics what Newton's laws are to classical mechanics, the fundamental equation of motion. It allows physicists to calculate the behavior of atoms, molecules, and even larger quantum systems with incredible precision. The solutions to the Schrodinger equation give probability distributions, showing where a particle is likely to be found when measured. Schrodinger himself was troubled by the probabilistic interpretation. He famously devised a thought experiment, Schrödinger's cat, to illustrate what he saw as the absurdity of quantum superposition. In the experiment, a cat in a box is both alive and dead until observed, a state of superposition. Schrödinger intended this as a critique, but it became one of the most famous illustrations of quantum weirdness. Despite his discomfort with the interpretation, Schrödinger's equation remains one of the cornerstones of modern physics. It has enabled the development of technologies from semiconductors to lasers to MRI machines. Every time a computer processes information using quantum effects, it relies on principles described by Schrödinger's equation. The quantum wave function, strange as it may be, is one of the most successful descriptions of reality ever devised. Edwin Hubble discovered the expansion of the universe. In the 1920s, most astronomers believed the Milky Way was the entire universe. Beyond it lay only darkness. But an American astronomer named Edwin Hubble, working at the Mount Wilson Observatory in California, made observations that shattered this view. Using the largest telescope of his time, Hubble observed faint nebulae and found that some contained Cepheid variable stars, whose brightness patterns allowed him to calculate distances. He discovered that these nebulae were far beyond the Milky Way, so far that they had to be separate galaxies. The universe was suddenly unimaginably larger, but Hubble's most profound discovery came next. He measured the light from distant galaxies and found that it was redshifted, stretched to longer wavelengths. The farther away a galaxy was, the greater its redshift. This meant galaxies were moving away from us, and the farther away they were, the faster they receded. The universe itself was expanding. This discovery confirmed a prediction from Einstein's general relativity. If space itself could curve, it could also expand or contract. The expanding universe implied that in the distant past, everything had been much closer together. This idea eventually led to the Big Bang theory. The universe had a beginning, a moment when it was infinitely dense and hot, and it has been expanding and cooling ever since. Hubble's observations provided the first clear evidence for this cosmic history. He showed that the universe has a story, a narrative stretching back billions of years, and that story is written in the light of distant galaxies. The mid-20th century, atoms, DNA, and the structure of everything. The middle decades of the 20th century saw science applied on an unprecedented scale. World War II accelerated technological development, and the post-war period brought prosperity that funded basic research. Scientists probed ever deeper into matter and life. Linus Pauling revealed the nature of the chemical bond. In California, a chemist named Linus Pauling wondered how atoms stick together to form molecules. What is the nature of the chemical bond? Using the new quantum mechanics, Pauling showed that bonds arise from the sharing or transfer of electrons between atoms. He introduced the concept of orbital hybridization, explaining the shapes of molecules, and developed the idea of electronegativity, which measures an atom's tendency to attract electrons. Pauling's 1939 book, The Nature of the Chemical Bond, transformed chemistry from a largely empirical science into one with deep theoretical foundations. He showed that molecular structure determines properties, and that quantum mechanics could predict those structures. His work laid the groundwork for understanding everything from simple molecules like water to complex biological structures like proteins. Later, Pauling turned his attention to biological molecules. He proposed structures for proteins and narrowly missed discovering the structure of DNA, though his incorrect triple helix model spurred others to find the right answer. he won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1954. Later, he became an advocate for nuclear disarmament and won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1962, making him one of only 4 individuals to receive 2 Nobel Prizes. Polling showed that chemistry was not separate from physics, but was the application of quantum principles to understand how matter organizes itself. J. Robert Oppenheimer led the creation of the atomic bomb. During World War II, the United States launched the Manhattan Project, a massive effort to build an atomic bomb before Nazi Germany could. Leading the scientific effort was J. Robert Oppenheimer, a theoretical physicist with a gift for bringing together brilliant minds. Under his leadership at Los Alamos, New Mexico, a team of physicists and engineers worked in secret to turn Einstein's E=mc² into a devastating reality. On the 16th of July 1945, the first atomic bomb was detonated in the New Mexico desert. The explosion released energy equivalent to 20,000 tons of TNT, turning sand into glass and lighting up the pre-dawn sky. Witnessing it, Oppenheimer later recalled a line from Hindu scripture, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The bomb worked. Within weeks, 2 atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, bringing World War II to an abrupt end, but killing hundreds of thousands of people. Oppenheimer's feelings about the bomb were complex. He believed it had been necessary to defeat fascism, but he was deeply troubled by its destructive power. After the war, he opposed the development of the even more powerful hydrogen bomb and advocated for international control of nuclear weapons. His political views and past associations led to his security clearance being revoked in 1954, a controversial decision that divided the scientific community. The atomic bomb demonstrated that scientific knowledge could be applied with terrifying effectiveness. It raised ethical questions that scientists still grapple with. What responsibility do scientists bear for how their discoveries are used? Oppenheimer's life embodies these dilemmas. A brilliant mind that unlocked the power of the atom and then struggled with the moral weight of that achievement. Enrico Fermi achieved the first controlled nuclear chain reaction. Before the bomb, there was the reactor. In December 1942, under the stands of a football stadium at the University of Chicago, a team led by Italian physicist Enrico Fermi assembled the world's first nuclear reactor. It was a pile of graphite blocks and uranium, carefully arranged so that uranium atoms would split, releasing neutrons that would split other atoms, creating a self-sustaining chain reaction. On December 2, Fermi and his colleagues slowly withdrew control rods that absorbed neutrons, allowing the reaction to build. Instruments tracked the neutron levels as they climbed. Finally, the reaction became self-sustaining. For 28 minutes, the pile produced energy from nuclear fission, the first time humans had controlled the release of nuclear energy. Fermi had them shut it down before it could overheat. The experiment was a success. Fermi's reactor proved that nuclear energy could be harnessed. It led directly to nuclear power plants, which now generate a significant fraction of the world's electricity, and also to the development of nuclear weapons. Fermi himself contributed to the Manhattan Project, though he harbored doubts about the morality of the bomb. He was known for his ability to make quick, accurate estimates, and for his clear, intuitive understanding of physics. His legacy includes fundamental contributions to quantum theory, particle physics, and nuclear physics. The element fermium and a class of particles called fermions are named in his honor. Barbara McClintock discovered genetic transposition, mobile genes that jump. In the 1940s and 1950s, a geneticist named Barbara McClintock studied corn plants and noticed something peculiar. The colors of corn kernels were inherited in patterns that did not follow Mendel's laws. genes seemed to be moving around within the genome, jumping from one location to another. She called these jumping genes, or transposable elements. McClintock's discovery was revolutionary, but met with skepticism. The prevailing view was that genes were fixed in place on chromosomes, like beads on a string. The idea that genes could move seemed implausible. But McClintock had meticulous records and evidence. She continued her work quietly, publishing her findings, even as many colleagues dismissed them. Decades later, molecular biology confirmed that McClintock was right. Transposable elements are real and widespread, found in virtually all organisms. They play important roles in evolution, creating genetic diversity and sometimes causing mutations that lead to disease. In 1983, more than 30 years after her initial discovery, McClintock was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. She was 81 years old. McClintock's story is a reminder that scientific consensus can be wrong, and that persistence in the face of skepticism is sometimes necessary. Her work showed that genomes are dynamic, not static, and that evolution has mechanisms for shuffling genetic information in unexpected ways. She saw patterns others missed because she looked closely, thought deeply, and trusted her observations, even when they contradicted prevailing theories. Rosalind Franklin captured the image that revealed DNA's structure. In London, in the early 1950s, a chemist named Rosalind Franklin was using X-ray crystallography to study the structure of DNA. She produced extraordinarily clear X-ray diffraction images, including one known as Photo 51, which showed a distinctive X-shaped pattern. This pattern indicated that DNA had a helical structure. Franklin's work was meticulous and rigorous. She was cautious about drawing conclusions, waiting until she had sufficient evidence. But her colleague, Maurice Wilkins, showed Photo 51 to James Watson and Francis Crick without her knowledge or permission. Watson and Crick, working at Cambridge, immediately recognized the significance. The X pattern revealed the helical structure, and they used this insight, combined with other data, to build their famous model of DNA, a double helix with two strands wound around each other, held together by complementary base pairs. In 1953, Watson and Crick published their model in the journal Nature. Franklin published her X-ray data in a paper appearing in the same issue, providing crucial support. But her contribution was underappreciated at the time. In 1962, Watson, Crick, and Wilkins received the Nobel Prize for discovering the structure of DNA. Franklin had died in 1958 of ovarian cancer, possibly caused by her extensive work with X-rays, and the Nobel Prize is not awarded posthumously. In later years, Franklin's critical role has been more fully recognized. Without her images and data, the structure of DNA might have remained elusive for much longer. She was a skilled scientist whose work was foundational to one of the greatest discoveries in biology. Even if she did not live to see her full recognition, DNA's double helix is now an icon of biology, and Franklin's contribution to uncovering it is finally being honored. James Watson and Francis Crick deciphered the structure of DNA. In 1953, James Watson and Francis Crick burst into a pub near their Cambridge laboratory and announced that they had discovered the secret of life. They had built a model of DNA that explained how genetic information is stored and copied. The structure was elegant. Two long strands twisted into a double helix, with bases pairing in the middle like rungs on a twisted ladder. Adenine always paired with thymine, and guanine always paired with cytosine. This complementary base pairing immediately suggested how DNA replicates. Each strand could serve as a template for a new strand, with the bases attracting their complements. When a cell divides, the DNA unzips, and each strand directs the creation of a matching strand. The result? Two identical DNA molecules. This mechanism explained heredity at the molecular level. The discovery of DNA's structure was a watershed moment in biology. It revealed how genetic information is encoded in the sequence of bases along the DNA strand. It explained how that information is copied and passed from cell to cell, generation to generation. It opened the door to molecular biology, genetic engineering, and the modern understanding of life. Within decades, scientists learned to read and edit DNA sequences, leading to technologies from genetic testing to CRISPR gene editing. Watson and Crick's model was built on the work of many others, including Franklin, Wilkins, and earlier chemists who determined the chemical composition of DNA. But their insight in assembling the pieces into a coherent structure changed everything. The secret of life, it turned out, was a beautifully simple code written in the language of chemistry. Jonas Salk developed the first successful polio vaccine. In the early 20th century, polio was a dreaded disease. It struck children most often, causing paralysis and sometimes death. Outbreaks occurred every summer, and parents lived in fear. Swimming pools and movie theaters closed. The disease left thousands in iron lungs, machines that helped them breathe when their muscles failed. In the 1950s, a virologist named Jonas Salk decided to tackle polio. He developed a vaccine using killed poliovirus, which could stimulate the immune system without causing disease. In 1952, Salk tested the vaccine on himself, his wife, and his children. It worked. A massive field trial followed in 1954, involving nearly 2 million children. The results were announced in April 1955. The vaccine was safe and effective. Salk became an instant hero. Parents wept with relief. The vaccine was rolled out nationwide, and polio cases plummeted. Salk refused to patent the vaccine, believing it should be available to everyone. When asked who owned the patent, he replied, "Well, the people, I would say. There is no patent. Could you patent the sun?" His generosity ensured that the vaccine reached millions. Later, Albert Sabin developed an oral polio vaccine using a weakened live virus, which became the standard in many countries. Between the two vaccines, polio was nearly eradicated. Today, only a handful of cases occur each year, mostly in regions with limited vaccine access. Salk's work saved countless lives and demonstrated the power of vaccines to conquer infectious disease. His legacy is a world where children no longer fear paralysis from a summer swim. Richard Feynman illuminated quantum electrodynamics with diagrams and wit. Richard Feynman was a physicist who saw the world differently. In the 1940s, quantum electrodynamics, the theory of how light and matter interact, was plagued by mathematical problems. Calculations gave infinite answers, which made no sense. Feynman, along with Julian Schwinger and Shinichiro Tominaga, developed techniques to handle these infinities, a process called renormalization. Feynman also invented a visual tool, Feynman diagrams, simple pictures that represent particle interactions. These diagrams made complex calculations easier and more intuitive. You could draw a picture of particles exchanging force carriers and then translate that picture into mathematics. Feynman diagrams became the standard language of particle physics, used by physicists around the world. Beyond his technical contributions, Feynman was a brilliant communicator. His lectures were legendary, filled with clarity, humor, and deep insight. He had a gift for explaining complex ideas simply without losing their essence. His books, including The Feynman Lectures on Physics and Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, remain beloved by students and the public. He won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1965. Feynman also served on the commission investigating the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster in 1986. In a memorable demonstration, he showed that the O-ring seals failed in cold temperatures by immersing a piece of O-ring in ice water during a televised hearing. His independent analysis and willingness to speak plainly helped uncover the truth. Feynman embodied the spirit of curiosity and skepticism that defines great science, always questioning, always probing, always seeking to understand the world more deeply. Rachel Carson warned the world about environmental destruction. In the 1960s, pesticides were seen as miracles of modern chemistry. DDT and other chemicals killed insects, boosting crop yields and controlling disease-carrying mosquitoes. But a marine biologist named Rachel Carson noticed something troubling. Birds were dying. Eggshells were thinning. Ecosystems were being poisoned. Carson spent years researching and writing Silent Spring, published in 1962. The book documented how pesticides accumulated in the food chain, harming wildlife and potentially threatening human health. She wrote, "Over increasingly large areas of the United States, spring now comes unheralded by the return of the birds, and the early mornings are strangely silent." Her prose was eloquent, her evidence compelling. The chemical industry attacked her viciously, questioning her credentials and motives. But the public listened. Silent Spring became a bestseller and sparked the modern environmental movement. It led to the creation of the Environmental Protection Agency and the ban of DDT in the United States. Carson showed that human actions have consequences, that we are part of the natural world, not separate from it, and that short-sighted use of technology can cause harm that reverberates for generations. Carson did not live to see the full impact of her work. She died of breast cancer in 1964, but her legacy endures. She taught us to consider the long-term effects of our actions, to think ecologically, and to recognize that protecting the environment is essential for our own survival. Her courage in speaking out against powerful interests paved the way for decades of environmental legislation and awareness. Late 20th century. Computers, chaos, and the cosmos. The late 20th century brought computers into every aspect of science, enabling simulations, data analysis, and discoveries that would have been impossible before. It also brought new theoretical frameworks and a deeper understanding of complexity. Alan Turing laid the mathematical foundations for computer science. In the 1930s, a British mathematician named Alan Turing tackled a fundamental question: what does it mean to compute something? Can we define computation precisely? Turing invented an abstract machine, now called a Turing machine, that could perform any calculation that could be described by a step-by-step procedure, an algorithm. Turing machines were not physical devices, but mathematical constructs. Yet they revealed something profound. There are limits to computation. Turing proved that some problems are fundamentally unsolvable by any algorithm. This was a shocking result, showing that mathematics itself has boundaries. But Turing's positive contribution was equally important. Any computation that can be done by a Turing machine. This idea became the foundation of computer science. During World War II, Turing applied his genius to code breaking at Bletchley Park. He helped design machines that cracked the German Enigma code, providing the Allies with crucial intelligence. His work is estimated to have shortened the war by years and saved countless lives. After the war, Turing worked on early computers and explored artificial intelligence, asking whether machines could think. Tragically, Turing's life was cut short by persecution. In 1952, he was prosecuted for homosexuality, which was then illegal in Britain. He accepted chemical castration to avoid prison. In 1954, He died from cyanide poisoning, likely suicide. Only decades later was his immense contribution fully recognized and his conviction posthumously pardoned. Turing's vision of universal computation underlies every computer and smartphone, every algorithm and app. He showed that thought itself could be mechanized, that logic and symbol manipulation could be performed by machines. John von Neumann designed the architecture used in modern computers, while Turing provided the theoretical foundation for computation. Another mathematician, John von Neumann, designed the practical architecture. In the 1940s, early computers were cumbersome and program-specific. You had to rewire them to change their function. Von Neumann proposed a revolutionary idea: store the program in the computer's memory along with the data. This stored program architecture meant computers could be reprogrammed by simply loading different instructions. The von Neumann architecture became the standard design for computers. It consists of a central processing unit that executes instructions, memory that stores both data and instructions, and input-output mechanisms. Nearly every computer and smartphone today follows this basic structure. Von Neumann also made major contributions to mathematics, quantum mechanics, and game theory. His work on self-replicating machines anticipated later developments in artificial life and nanotechnology. Von Neumann was a polymath, contributing to diverse fields with apparent ease. Colleagues described his mind as astonishingly fast and powerful. He could perform complex calculations in his head and had a photographic memory. During World War II, he worked on the Manhattan Project, calculating the implosion needed for the plutonium bomb. After the war, he helped develop game theory, which analyzes strategic decision-making, with applications from economics to evolutionary biology. Von Neumann's health declined rapidly in the mid-1950s. He was diagnosed with cancer, possibly related to radiation exposure. He died in 1957 at age 53. But his intellectual legacy is vast. The von Neumann architecture enabled the computer revolution, transforming society. His theoretical work laid foundations in multiple fields. He showed that the same mathematical principles could be applied to seemingly disparate problems, from economics to nuclear physics to the design of machines. Stephen Hawking explored black holes and the origin of the universe. In the 1970s, a young British physicist named Stephen Hawking made a startling discovery. Using the principles of quantum mechanics and general relativity, he showed that black holes are not entirely black. They emit radiation due to quantum effects near the event horizon. This Hawking radiation means that black holes slowly evaporate over time, eventually disappearing in a burst of energy. This discovery bridged two great theories that are notoriously difficult to reconcile: quantum mechanics and general relativity. Hawking's work suggested that a complete theory of quantum gravity was essential to understanding the ultimate fate of black holes and the very early universe. He also worked on cosmology, exploring the Big Bang and the conditions under which the universe began. Hawking's scientific achievements are all the more remarkable given his circumstances. At age 21, he was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, a degenerative disease that gradually paralyzed him. Doctors gave him only a few years to live. But Hawking defied the prognosis, living for more than 50 years with the disease. As his body weakened, his mind remained sharp. He communicated using a speech-generating device, operated by tiny movements of his cheek. In 1988, Hawking published A Brief History of Time, a book aimed at general readers that explained cosmology and black holes. It became an international bestseller, bringing complex physics to millions. Hawking became a cultural icon, a symbol of human intellect triumphing over physical limitation. He continued working until his death in 2018, exploring the mysteries of the cosmos and inspiring countless people to look upward and wonder. Jane Goodall revolutionized our understanding of animal behavior. In 1960, a young Englishwoman named Jane Goodall arrived in Tanzania to study chimpanzees in the wild. She had no formal scientific training, only a deep love of animals and a passion for understanding them. What she discovered over the following decades transformed primatology and our understanding of what it means to be human. Goodall observed that chimpanzees made and used tools, stripping leaves from twigs to extract termites from mounds. Before this, tool use was considered a uniquely human trait. She saw that chimps had complex social structures, with politics, alliances, and even warfare between groups. She documented their emotional lives. They expressed joy, grief, anger, and compassion. They embraced, kissed, and comforted each other. Her mentor, the anthropologist Louis Leakey, remarked that we must redefine tool, redefine man, or accept chimpanzees as human. Goodall's work blurred the line between humans and other animals, showing continuity rather than a sharp divide. She demonstrated that rigorous science did not require detachment, that empathy and careful observation could coexist. Goodall earned her PhD and became a prominent advocate for conservation and animal welfare. She founded the Jane Goodall Institute, which works to protect chimpanzees and their habitats. Even in her 90s, she travels the world, speaking about the interconnectedness of all living things and the need to protect our planet. Goodall showed that science is not just about answers, but about respect for the subjects we study and a commitment to preserving the natural world. Carl Sagan brought the wonder of science to millions. In the late 20th century, a Cornell University astronomer named Carl Sagan became the public face of science. His 1,980 television series, Cosmos, A Personal Voyage, was watched by hundreds of millions of people worldwide. Sagan had a gift for communication, explaining complex ideas with clarity and poetry. He spoke of the cosmic calendar, compressing the history of the universe into a single year to show how brief human existence is. Sagan was a passionate advocate for scientific literacy and critical thinking. He believed that science was not just a collection of facts, but a way of thinking, a method for understanding reality that relied on evidence and reason. He warned against pseudoscience and superstition, writing in his book The Demon-Haunted World that society needs a candle in the dark, the light of scientific knowledge to dispel ignorance. Sagan also made scientific contributions. He studied the atmospheres of planets, particularly Venus, and contributed to NASA missions including the Voyager spacecraft, which carried a golden record with sounds and images from Earth. Intended as a message to any extraterrestrial intelligence, Sagan was deeply interested in the possibility of life elsewhere in the universe and co-founded the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, SETI. He died of pneumonia in 1996 at age 62, but his legacy lives on. Sagan inspired a generation to look up at the stars with wonder and to appreciate that we are made of star stuff, the atoms in our bodies forged in the hearts of distant suns. He showed that science is not cold or impersonal but deeply human, a way of connecting with the cosmos and with each other. Vera Rubin discovered evidence for dark matter. In the 1970s, an astronomer named Vera Rubin was studying the rotation of galaxies. According to Newton and Einstein, objects farther from the center of a galaxy should orbit more slowly, just as outer planets in the solar system take longer to complete their orbits. But Rubin's observations showed something strange. Stars at the edges of galaxies were moving just as fast as those closer to the center. This violated everything physicists thought they knew. Either the laws of gravity were wrong, or there was something else out there. Invisible mass providing extra gravitational pull. Rubin and her colleague Kent Ford concluded that galaxies must be surrounded by halos of dark matter, material that does not emit or absorb light, but exerts gravitational force. The amount of dark matter needed was staggering, about 5 times more mass than all the visible stars and gas combined. Rubin's findings were initially met with skepticism, but further observations confirmed the pattern. Today, dark matter is a fundamental part of cosmology. We still do not know what it is, perhaps exotic particles that barely interact with ordinary matter, but we know it is there, shaping the structure of galaxies and the universe itself. Rubin's careful observations revealed that most of the universe is hidden from our eyes, a humbling reminder of how much we have yet to understand. Despite her groundbreaking work, Rubin never received a Nobel Prize, a fact many consider a serious oversight. She continued observing galaxies and mentoring young scientists until her death in 2016. Rubin showed that the cosmos holds surprises, that what we can see is just a fraction of what exists, and that careful, persistent observation can reveal truths hidden in the darkness. Tim Berners-Lee invented the World Wide Web. In 1989, a British computer scientist working at CERN, the European Physics Laboratory, proposed a system to help researchers share information. Tim Berners-Lee envisioned a network of documents linked together, accessible from any computer. He called it the World Wide Web. By 1991, he had created the first web browser and web server, and the first website went live. Berners-Lee's invention used 3 key technologies: HTML to format documents, HTTP to transfer them, and URLs to address them. These simple protocols allowed anyone to publish information and anyone else to access it from anywhere in the world. The web grew explosively. Within a few years, millions of websites existed, covering every imaginable topic. The web transformed how we communicate, learn, shop, work, and entertain ourselves. Crucially, Berners-Lee did not patent his invention or try to profit from it. He made the web open and free, available to everyone without restriction. This openness was essential to its success. If the web had been proprietary, it might have remained a niche tool. Instead, it became a global commons, a platform for innovation and connection. Berners-Lee has spent much of his later career advocating for keeping the web open and accessible, warning against surveillance, censorship, and the concentration of power in a few tech companies. The web is arguably the most transformative invention of the late 20th century. It has democratized information, giving billions of people access to knowledge that was once the province of libraries and universities. It has connected people across continents and cultures, and it continues to evolve, shaping the 21st century in ways Berners-Lee could not have imagined when he wrote that first proposal at CERN. Edward Lorenz discovered the butterfly effect and chaos theory. In the early 1960s, a meteorologist named Edward Lorenz was using a computer to simulate weather patterns. One day, he reran a simulation, but to save time, entered slightly rounded values from a previous run instead of the full precision numbers. He expected nearly identical results. Instead, the simulation diverged wildly, producing a completely different weather pattern. Lorenz realized that tiny differences in initial conditions could lead to enormous differences in outcomes. This sensitivity made long-term weather prediction fundamentally difficult. He summarized the idea poetically. A butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil could set off a chain of events leading to a tornado in Texas. This became known as the butterfly effect, a hallmark of chaotic systems. chaos theory revealed that many systems, from weather to ecosystems to the stock market, are deterministic but unpredictable. The equations that govern them are known, but their behavior is so sensitive to initial conditions that prediction becomes practically impossible beyond a certain time horizon. Lorenz's work showed that randomness and unpredictability are built into the fabric of nature, not because the laws of physics are probabilistic, as in quantum mechanics, but because complex systems amplify tiny uncertainties. Chaos theory has influenced fields far beyond meteorology. It has changed how we think about everything from population dynamics to the human heart's rhythm. Lorenz showed that the universe is more subtle and surprising than simple determinism suggests. Order and chaos coexist, and simple rules can give rise to endlessly complex, unpredictable behavior. The modern era, genomics, particles, and planets. The late 20th and early 21st centuries have been marked by accelerating discovery. New technologies have opened windows into the very small and the very large, from the human genome to distant exoplanets to the fundamental particles of nature. Craig Venter and Francis Collins led the Human Genome Project. In 1990, an ambitious project began to read the entire sequence of human DNA, all 3 billion base pairs that make up our genetic blueprint. The Human Genome Project was an international collaboration coordinated by Francis Collins, a geneticist who believed that understanding our genome would revolutionize medicine. Meanwhile, Craig Venter, a maverick scientist, founded a private company to sequence the genome faster using a different technique called shotgun sequencing. A rivalry developed between the public project and Venter's private effort, but in 2000, they announced a joint completion of a draft sequence. President Bill Clinton declared, "Today, we are learning the language in which God created life." The full genome sequence, published in 2003, was a landmark achievement. It revealed that humans have about 20,000 to 25,000 genes, far fewer than expected, and that much of our DNA does not code for proteins. The Human Genome Project has transformed biology and medicine. It enabled personalized medicine, where treatments are tailored to an individual's genetic makeup. It allowed researchers to identify genes associated with diseases like cancer, diabetes, and Alzheimer's. It opened the door to gene therapy, where faulty genes can be corrected. The project also raised ethical questions about genetic privacy, discrimination, and modification, but its impact is undeniable. We now have the instruction manual for building a human being, written in the language of DNA. Jennifer Doudna and Emmanuelle Charpentier developed CRISPR gene editing. In 2012, 2 biochemists, Jennifer Doudna and Emmanuelle Charpentier, published a paper that would transform biology. They had figured out how to use a bacterial immune system called CRISPR to precisely edit DNA sequences in living cells. CRISPR works like molecular scissors, guided by a short RNA sequence to find and cut a specific location in the genome. Once cut, the cell's repair mechanisms can be harnessed to insert, delete, or replace genetic material. CRISPR is simpler, cheaper, and more versatile than earlier gene editing techniques. Suddenly, labs around the world could edit genes with relative ease. Researchers began using CRISPR to study gene function, develop disease models, and explore potential therapies. CRISPR has been used to correct mutations causing sickle cell disease and muscular dystrophy. It holds promise for treating genetic disorders, cancers, and infectious diseases. But CRISPR also raised ethical concerns. In 2018, a Chinese scientist announced he had used CRISPR to edit the genes of human embryos, creating the first gene-edited babies. The news sparked global controversy. Many scientists condemned the experiment as premature and unethical, given the unknowns and risks. Doudna herself has called for careful consideration of how gene editing should be used, particularly in humans. In 2020, Doudna and Charpentier were awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. Their discovery is not just a tool, but a new chapter in human capability, the power to rewrite the code of life itself. Used responsibly, CRISPR could eliminate genetic diseases and enhance our ability to adapt crops to changing climates. Used recklessly, it poses risks we are only beginning to understand. The scientists who developed it have become advocates for thoughtful governance of this powerful technology. Peter Higgs predicted the particle that gives matter mass. In the 1960s, physicists had a problem. The Standard Model of Particle Physics, which describes the fundamental particles and forces, predicted that particles should be massless. But obviously, particles have mass. How could this be explained? Peter Higgs, a British physicist, proposed a solution, a field permeating all of space, now called the Higgs field. Particles acquire mass by interacting with this field, like moving through a thick syrup. Higgs predicted that if the field exists, it must have an associated particle, the Higgs boson. For decades, physicists searched for it. Building particle accelerators required enormous resources and international collaboration. Finally, in 2012, scientists at the Large Hadron Collider at CERN announced they had found it. The Higgs boson had been detected in the debris of high-energy proton collisions. The discovery confirmed the Higgs mechanism and completed the Standard Model. Higgs was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2013. The Higgs boson is sometimes called the God particle, a nickname Higgs himself dislikes, but it reflects the particle's fundamental role in giving substance to the universe. Without the Higgs field, electrons, quarks, and other particles would be massless and unable to form atoms. There would be no stars, no planets, no life. The search for the Higgs boson was one of the great scientific endeavors of the 21st century, involving thousands of physicists from around the world. It demonstrated the power of large-scale collaboration and the importance of investing in basic research. The Higgs boson is a triumph of theoretical prediction and experimental confirmation, a testament to humanity's ability to understand the most fundamental aspects of reality. Geoffrey Hinton pioneered deep learning, enabling modern AI. In the 1980s, artificial intelligence had hit a wall. Neural networks, computer systems modeled loosely on the brain, had shown some promise but were limited. Then Geoffrey Hinton, a cognitive psychologist and computer scientist, began developing techniques to train deeper, more complex neural networks. His work on backpropagation, a method for adjusting the weights in a network to improve its performance, was crucial. For years, Hinton's ideas were considered marginal. Neural networks fell out of favor, and AI research focused on other approaches. But Hinton persisted, continuing to refine deep learning techniques. In 2012, his team achieved a breakthrough, winning a major image recognition competition by a huge margin, using a deep neural network. Suddenly, everyone took notice. Deep learning worked, and it worked better than anything else. Deep learning has since transformed AI. It powers voice assistants, language translation, facial recognition, and self-driving cars. It enabled AlphaGo to defeat the world champion in the ancient game of Go, a feat once thought to be decades away. Deep learning systems can generate realistic images, write coherent text, and even create art. Hinton's work laid the foundation for these advances, showing that with enough data and computational power, neural networks could learn to perform tasks once thought to require human intelligence. Hinton is sometimes called the godfather of AI. But he is also a cautious advocate, warning that AI poses risks as well as benefits. He has expressed concerns about autonomous weapons, job displacement, and the potential for AI systems to be misused. His life embodies the dual nature of scientific progress, the excitement of discovery, and the responsibility that comes with powerful technologies. Hinton showed that machines can learn, and in doing so, opened possibilities and challenges that will define the 21st century. Kip Thorne and Rainer Weiss detected gravitational waves a century after Einstein predicted them. In 1915, Einstein's general relativity predicted that accelerating massive objects, like colliding black holes, should create ripples in space-time itself, gravitational waves. These waves would travel at the speed of light, stretching and squeezing space as they passed. But they would be incredibly faint, almost impossible to detect. For decades, physicists debated whether gravitational waves could ever be observed. Kip Thorne, a theoretical physicist, and Rainer Weiss, an experimentalist, believed they could be. Along with Barry Barish, they led the construction of LIGO, the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. LIGO uses lasers to measure tiny changes in the distance between mirrors separated by several kilometers. If a gravitational wave passes through, it would change those distances by less than the width of a proton. On the 14th of September 2015, LIGO detected something. The signal matched the predicted signature of two black holes, each about 30 times the mass of the Sun, spiraling together and merging into one. The collision released more energy in gravitational waves than all the stars in the observable universe emit in light at the same moment. The signal had traveled over 1 billion light-years to reach Earth. The detection was announced in February 2016, and the scientific community erupted in celebration. Einstein had been right. Gravitational waves exist. Since then, LIGO has detected dozens more events, including colliding neutron stars that also produced light, allowing astronomers to observe a single event through both gravitational waves and electromagnetic radiation. This marks the beginning of gravitational wave astronomy, a new way of observing the universe. Thorne, Weiss, and Barish were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2017. Their achievement showed that even a century-old prediction could be tested, that patience and ingenuity can overcome seemingly insurmountable technical challenges, and that the universe still has surprises waiting to be discovered. Jocelyn Bell Burnell discovered pulsars, spinning neutron stars. In 1967, a graduate student at Cambridge University, named Jocelyn Bell Burnell, was analyzing radio telescope data when she noticed something odd, a regular pulse of radio waves, repeating every 1.3 seconds. At first, she and her advisor, Anthony Hewish, joked that it might be a signal from extraterrestrials, calling it LGM1 for Little Green Men, but soon they found more of these pulsing sources. Bell Burnell had discovered pulsars, rapidly spinning neutron stars that emit beams of radiation from their magnetic poles. As the star spins, the beam sweeps across space like a lighthouse, and if Earth lies in the path, we detect a pulse. Pulsars are the remnants of massive stars that exploded in supernovae. They are incredibly dense, packing more mass than the Sun into a sphere just 20 kilometers across. Some spin hundreds of times per second. The discovery was revolutionary, confirming the existence of neutron stars, which had been predicted theoretically, but never observed. In 1974, Hewish was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for the discovery. Bell Burnell was not included, a decision widely regarded as unjust. She was the one who found the signals and recognized their significance. In later years, the oversight has been acknowledged, and Bell Burnell has received numerous other awards. Bell Burnell has been gracious about the controversy, saying that student discoveries are often attributed to their supervisors and that she was just pleased to have contributed to science. Her career has been distinguished, and she has become an advocate for underrepresented groups in science. Pulsars remain fascinating objects, used as cosmic clocks to test relativity, search for gravitational waves, and probe the interiors of neutron stars. Bell Burnell's discovery opened a new window into the extreme physics of collapsed stars. Michel Mayor and Didier Queloz discovered the first exoplanet orbiting a sun-like star. For centuries, astronomers wondered whether other stars had planets. In 1995, two Swiss astronomers, Michel Mayor and Didier Queloz, announced the first confirmed detection of a planet orbiting a main sequence star, like the Sun. The planet, 51 Pegasi b, was unlike anything in our solar system. A gas giant orbiting so close to its star that its year lasted only 4 Earth days. The discovery was made using the radial velocity method, detecting tiny wobbles in the star's motion caused by the gravitational tug of the orbiting planet. It was a technical tour de force, measuring velocity changes of meters per second in an object light years away. The announcement was initially met with skepticism, but other teams quickly confirmed it. A new field was born: exoplanet astronomy. Since then, thousands of exoplanets have been discovered, including rocky planets in the habitable zones of their stars where liquid water could exist. These discoveries have transformed our understanding of planetary systems. We now know that planets are common, that solar systems come in a stunning variety of configurations, and that the conditions for life may be widespread in the universe. Mayor and Queloz were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2019. The search for exoplanets continues, with missions like Kepler and TESS surveying thousands of stars. Astronomers are not just finding planets, but characterizing their atmospheres, searching for biosignatures, hints that life might exist. The question, "Are we alone?" is no longer purely philosophical. It is becoming an empirical question, one that science can actually address. Mayor and Queloz opened the door to answering it. Fabiola Gianotti led the team that discovered the Higgs boson. In 2012, when the discovery of the Higgs boson was announced, Fabiola Gianotti was the spokesperson for the ATLAS experiment at CERN, one of the 2 large detector collaborations that found the particle. Born in Italy, Gianotti trained as a physicist and became a leader in experimental particle physics, overseeing a team of thousands of scientists from around the world. The search for the Higgs required incredible coordination. The Large Hadron Collider smashes protons together billions of times per second, and computer systems sift through the data looking for rare events. Finding the Higgs was like looking for a single grain of sand on a vast beach. But Gianotti and her colleagues persevered, analyzing data with painstaking care. When the signal finally emerged, it was clear and unmistakable. In 2016, Gianotti became the Director General of CERN, the first woman to hold the position. She has been a strong advocate for international collaboration in science, pointing out that the discovery of the Higgs boson involved scientists from over 100 countries. CERN itself is a model of cooperation, funded by European nations working together for purely scientific goals. Gianotti embodies the modern scientist, collaborative, meticulous, and driven by curiosity about the fundamental nature of reality. Under her leadership, CERN is planning future accelerators to explore questions beyond the standard model, such as the nature of dark matter and whether there are additional dimensions of space. Her work reminds us that even in an age of specialization, individual leadership and vision remain essential. Contemporary pioneers: climate, cosmos, and computing. The scientists working today stand on the shoulders of giants, but they face challenges their predecessors never imagined. Climate change, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and the search for life beyond Earth define the frontiers of contemporary science. Katherine Johnson calculated the trajectories that sent astronauts to the moon. Before electronic computers became common, human computers, mostly women, performed complex calculations by hand. Katherine Johnson was one of these brilliant mathematicians, working at NASA during the space race. Her job was to calculate orbital mechanics, the precise trajectories needed to launch spacecraft, keep them in orbit, and bring them safely home. Johnson's calculations were critical to the success of early spaceflights. When John Glenn prepared to become the first American to orbit Earth in 1962, he insisted that Johnson personally verify the computer's calculations. "If she says they're good," he said, "then I'm ready to go." Her work was instrumental in the Apollo 11 mission that landed humans on the moon in 1969. She calculated the trajectory that allowed the lunar module to launch from the moon's surface and rendezvous with the command module. Despite her crucial contributions, Johnson and her colleagues worked in segregation-era America, facing discrimination because of both their race and gender. Their stories remained largely unknown for decades, but in recent years, Johnson's work has been celebrated, including in the book and film Hidden Figures. She received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2015. Johnson's life is a reminder that talent and brilliance exist everywhere, and that societies that exclude people based on race or gender deprive themselves of immense potential. She died in 2020 at age 101, having lived to see her contributions finally recognized. Subramanian Chandrasekhar revealed the fate of dying stars. In the 1930s, a young Indian physicist named Subramanian Chandrasekhar calculated what happens to stars when they run out of fuel. He found that there is a limit, about 1.4 times the mass of the Sun, beyond which a dying star cannot support itself against gravity. Stars below this limit become white dwarfs, cooling embers held up by electron pressure. Stars above it collapse further, becoming neutron stars or black holes. This limit, now called the Chandrasekhar limit, was controversial when first proposed. Established scientists, including Arthur Eddington, ridiculed the idea. But Chandrasekhar's mathematics was sound, and eventually, observations confirmed it. The Chandrasekhar limit explained why some stars explode as supernovae. When their cores exceed the limit, collapse is inevitable. This work laid the foundation for understanding stellar evolution and the life cycles of stars. Chandrasekhar spent most of his career at the University of Chicago, making contributions to many areas of astrophysics. He was known for his rigorous mathematical approach and his elegant writing. In 1983, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics, finally receiving the recognition his early work deserved. Chandrasekhar showed that stars, like all things, have life cycles governed by physical laws. Even the most luminous stars must eventually fade, and their endings depend on the balance between gravity and the internal forces that resist it. Freeman Dyson envisioned megastructures and advanced civilizations. Freeman Dyson was a physicist and mathematician who made contributions to quantum electrodynamics, nuclear engineering, and many other fields. But he is perhaps best known for his speculative ideas about the far future. In 1960, Dyson proposed that advanced civilizations might eventually harness all the energy output of their star by surrounding it with a swarm of solar collectors, now called a Dyson sphere or Dyson swarm. Dyson's idea was that we might detect such megastructures, by looking for stars that emit unusual infrared radiation, which would be the waste heat from an advanced civilization's energy use. This inspired searches for signs of extraterrestrial civilizations based on their engineering projects. While no Dyson spheres have been found, the concept has influenced both science and science fiction, shaping how we think about the long-term future of technological societies. Dyson was known for his optimism about the future and his belief that humanity could solve its problems through ingenuity. He was also a contrarian, questioning scientific consensus on issues like climate change, which drew criticism from other scientists. Dyson passed away in 2020, leaving a legacy of bold ideas and a willingness to think on the grandest scales of time and space. He reminded us that science is not just about understanding the present, but about imagining what could be. Mae Jemison became the first African-American woman in space. In 1992, Mae Jemison boarded the Space Shuttle Endeavour and became the first black woman to travel to space. But her journey to orbit was just one part of a remarkable career. Jemison trained as a medical doctor and served in the Peace Corps in West Africa before joining NASA's astronaut corps. In space, she conducted experiments on bone cells and motion sickness. After leaving NASA, Jemison founded a technology company and started a program to encourage students, particularly minorities and women, to pursue science and technology. She has been a vocal advocate for STEM education and for recognizing the contributions of women and people of color in science. Jemison often speaks about the importance of art and culture in science, arguing that creativity and imagination are just as important as technical skill. Jemison's life challenges narrow stereotypes about who can be a scientist or astronaut. She showed that excellence knows no race or gender, and that the space program is richer when it includes diverse perspectives. Her legacy is not just her time in orbit, but her work inspiring the next generation to reach for the stars. Shinya Yamanaka discovered how to reprogram adult cells into stem cells. In 2006, a Japanese researcher named Shinya Yamanaka announced a discovery that stunned the biological community. He had figured out how to turn adult skin cells back into a state resembling embryonic stem cells by introducing just 4 genes. These induced pluripotent stem cells, or iPS cells, could then differentiate into any type of cell in the body. This breakthrough bypassed the ethical controversies surrounding embryonic stem cells, while opening new possibilities for regenerative medicine. iPS cells could be used to study diseases, test drugs, and potentially repair damaged tissues. For example, skin cells from a patient with a genetic disease could be reprogrammed and then differentiated into the affected cell type, allowing researchers to study the disease in the lab. Eventually, iPS cells might be used to grow replacement organs. Yamanaka was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 2012, just 6 years after his discovery, a remarkably short time reflecting the impact of the work. His research showed that cellular identity is not fixed, but flexible, governed by the expression of certain genes. This insight opened up entirely new avenues for understanding, development, and disease. Yamanaka's work continues, exploring how to make iPS cell therapies safe and effective for treating conditions from Parkinson's disease to heart failure. Donna Strickland pioneered ultra-short, high-intensity laser pulses. In the mid-1980s, Donna Strickland, then a graduate student, developed a technique called chirped pulse amplification. This method allowed lasers to produce incredibly brief, intense pulses of light without damaging the laser equipment. The technique involves stretching a laser pulse in time, amplifying it, and then compressing it back down. The result is a pulse lasting just femtoseconds, but with enormous power. chirped pulse amplification, transformed laser physics, and had practical applications in medicine, particularly in laser eye surgery, where precise, ultra-short pulses can reshape the cornea without damaging surrounding tissue. The technique is also used in physics research to study ultra-fast processes like the movement of electrons in atoms. Strickland published her work in 1985, and it became foundational to the field. In 2018, more than 30 years after her graduate work, Strickland was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. She was only the third woman ever to receive the Nobel in Physics, after Marie Curie and Maria Goeppert-Mayer. Strickland's story highlights both the long timescales sometimes required for scientific work to be recognized, and the importance of addressing gender disparities in science. Her achievement reminds us that groundbreaking discoveries can come from graduate students, not just established professors, and that we must ensure opportunities for all talented individuals. Caroline Porco led imaging for the Cassini mission to Saturn. For 13 years, the Cassini spacecraft orbited Saturn, sending back stunning images and transforming our understanding of the planet, its rings, and its moons. Leading the imaging team was Caroline Porco, a planetary scientist who had previously worked on the Voyager missions. Under her leadership, Cassini captured images of Saturn's intricate ring structure, its hexagonal storm at the North Pole, and its moon Titan's surface beneath its thick atmosphere. One of the mission's most exciting discoveries came from another of Saturn's moons, Enceladus. Cassini's cameras showed plumes of water vapor erupting from cracks in Enceladus's icy surface, suggesting a subsurface ocean. This small moon became one of the most promising places in the solar system to search for life. Porco's team also organized the Day the Earth Smiled event in 2013, when Cassini photographed Earth from 1 billion miles away, capturing our planet as a tiny dot beside Saturn's rings. Porco has been a passionate advocate for planetary exploration and science communication. She believes that images of the cosmos inspire wonder and perspective, reminding us of our place in the universe. Her work with Cassini showed that even after centuries of looking at the planets through telescopes, there is always more to discover. Each new mission, each new image, adds to our understanding and deepens our appreciation for the beauty and complexity of the solar system. 2UU discovered artemisinin, saving millions from malaria. In the 1960s, during the Vietnam War, malaria was killing soldiers on both sides. The Chinese government launched a secret project to find new anti-malarial drugs. 2U, a pharmaceutical chemist, led a team that combed through ancient Chinese medical texts for potential remedies. She found references to sweet wormwood, used for centuries to treat fevers. 2 extracted compounds from the plant, testing them on animals and eventually on herself. She isolated artemisinin, a compound that kills the malaria parasite quickly and effectively. Artemisinin-based therapies have since become the standard treatment for malaria worldwide, saving millions of lives, particularly in Africa and Southeast Asia. The discovery is considered one of the greatest medical breakthroughs of the 20th century. Despite the impact of her work, 2 remained largely unknown for decades, in part because China was isolated during the Cultural Revolution. But in 2015, she was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine, the first Chinese woman to receive any Nobel Prize. 2's story is remarkable for several reasons. She drew on traditional knowledge, used rigorous scientific methods to validate it, and tested the drug on herself when no one else would. Her work is a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern medicine, showing that valuable insights can come from unexpected sources. Michael E. Mann reconstructed past climates and warned of global warming. In the 90s, climatologist Michael Mann and his colleagues published a graph showing global temperatures over the past 1,000 years. The graph, which became known as the hockey stick, showed relatively stable temperatures for centuries, followed by a sharp rise in the 20th century. This visual representation became a symbol of human-caused climate change. Mann's work, based on tree rings, ice cores, and other proxies for past temperatures, demonstrated that recent warming is unprecedented in at least a millennium. The hockey stick graph was featured prominently in the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reports and helped galvanize public and political attention on global warming. It also made Mann a target for climate change deniers, who attacked both his research and his character. Mann has defended his work vigorously, pointing out that dozens of subsequent studies using different methods have confirmed the basic pattern. The Earth is warming, and human activity is the primary cause. He has become an advocate for climate action and for defending scientists from politically motivated attacks. Mann's career illustrates that science is not always conducted in isolation from society. When research has implications for policy and economics, scientists can find themselves in the middle of contentious debates, yet the evidence for climate change is overwhelming. And Mann's work has been an important part of making that case. Corbett helped develop the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. When the COVID-19 pandemic began in early 2020, the world needed a vaccine urgently. An immunologist named Corbett, working at the National Institutes of Health, was part of the team that developed the Moderna vaccine in record time. Corbett had been studying coronaviruses for years, and her research on the spike protein, which the virus uses to enter cells, was critical to the vaccine design. The Moderna vaccine uses messenger RNA technology to instruct cells to produce the spike protein, triggering an immune response. This approach, combined with decades of prior research, allowed the vaccine to be developed, tested, and authorized in less than a year, a process that typically takes a decade or more. The Moderna and Pfizer-BioNTech mRNA vaccines proved highly effective, preventing severe disease and saving countless lives. Corbett became a public figure, explaining the science behind the vaccines and encouraging people to get vaccinated. As a Black woman, in a field that remains predominantly white, she has also spoken about the importance of diversity in science and the need to address health disparities. Corbett's work exemplifies how basic research, sometimes conducted for years without immediate application, can suddenly become crucial in a crisis. The rapid development of COVID-19 vaccines was a triumph of science, collaboration, and the dedication of researchers like Corbett. The next frontiers, quantum realms, and cosmic horizons. As we move further into the 21st century, new fields are emerging, and old questions are finding new answers. Quantum computing promises to revolutionize information processing. Astronomers are discovering the atmospheres of distant planets, and neuroscientists are beginning to unravel the mysteries of consciousness. John Preskill champions quantum computing and quantum information. Quantum mechanics is strange, but what if we could harness that strangeness for computation? A quantum computer uses qubits, which, unlike classical bits, can exist in superposition, being both 0 and 1 simultaneously. This allows quantum computers to explore many possibilities at once, potentially solving certain problems exponentially faster than classical computers. John Preskill, a theoretical physicist at Caltech, is one of the leading voices in quantum computing. He has worked on understanding what quantum computers can and cannot do, and what it will take to build practical quantum computers. He coined the term quantum supremacy to describe the point where a quantum computer can perform a task beyond the reach of classical computers, a milestone achieved in 2019. Pasteur is also known for his teaching and communication. His lecture notes on quantum computation have educated a generation of physicists and computer scientists. He emphasizes that quantum computing is still in its early days, like classical computing in the 1950s, but the potential is vast. Quantum computers could revolutionize drug discovery, materials science, cryptography, and artificial intelligence. They might also help us understand quantum mechanics itself more deeply. Pasteur's work bridges theory and the practical goal of building machines that can harness the quantum world. Andrea Ghez mapped the center of our galaxy and found a supermassive black hole. At the heart of the Milky Way, something massive lurks. For decades, astronomers suspected a supermassive black hole resided there, but proving it required precise measurements. Andrea Ghez, an astronomer at UCLA, spent over 20 years tracking the orbits of stars near the galactic center, using some of the world's largest telescopes. Ghez and her team used adaptive optics, a technique that corrects for the blurring caused by Earth's atmosphere, to observe stars whipping around an invisible point at incredible speeds. One star completed its orbit in just 16 years, reaching speeds of thousands of kilometers per second. The only explanation was a black hole with a mass of about 4 million suns concentrated in a region smaller than our solar system. In 2020, Ghez was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics, sharing it with Reinhard Genzel, who led a similar study, and Roger Penrose, who worked on black hole theory. Ghez became the fourth woman to receive the Nobel in Physics. Her work confirmed that supermassive black holes exist at the centers of galaxies, anchoring them gravitationally and influencing their evolution. These monsters are invisible, but their effects on surrounding matter betray their presence. Gez's observations were a tour de force of astronomical technique and persistence. Elon Musk and private companies are opening space to commercial ventures. Elon Musk is not a scientist in the traditional sense, but his work through companies like SpaceX has transformed space exploration. In 2002, Musk founded SpaceX with the goal of reducing the cost of space travel and eventually enabling human settlement on Mars. This was considered wildly ambitious, even delusional, by many in the aerospace industry. But SpaceX achieved what many thought impossible. It developed reusable rockets that can land vertically after launch, dramatically lowering costs. SpaceX's Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy rockets have launched satellites, cargo, and astronauts to the International Space Station. In 2020, SpaceX became the first private company to send astronauts to orbit. The company is now developing Starship, a fully reusable spacecraft designed for missions to the Moon and Mars. Musk's vision has inspired other entrepreneurs and forced traditional aerospace companies to innovate. Private space companies are now launching satellites, planning space tourism, and even discussing asteroid mining. While Musk's predictions are often overly optimistic, his companies have achieved real milestones. SpaceX has shown that commercial space ventures can succeed, opening a new era where space is not solely the domain of governments. Critics point out the environmental costs and question the ethics of billionaires funding space ventures while problems persist on Earth. But there is no denying the impact on space exploration. Demis Hassabis applied AI to protein folding, solving a decades-old problem. Proteins are the workhorses of biology, carrying out nearly every function in living cells. A protein's function depends on its three-dimensional shape, which is determined by the sequence of amino acids that make it up. For decades, scientists tried to predict protein structures from sequences, a problem known as protein folding. But the calculations were enormously complex, and traditional methods often failed. In 2018, a company called DeepMind, led by neuroscientist and AI researcher Demis Hassabis, entered the competition. Using deep learning techniques, DeepMind's AlphaFold system predicted protein structures with unprecedented accuracy. In 2020, AlphaFold 2 achieved a level of accuracy comparable to experimental methods. In 2021, DeepMind released the predicted structures of hundreds of thousands of proteins, freely available to researchers worldwide. This breakthrough has enormous implications. Understanding protein structures helps scientists design drugs, engineer enzymes for industrial use, and understand diseases caused by misfolded proteins. It also represents a triumph of AI applied to a fundamental scientific problem. Hassabis, who studied neuroscience and worked on brain-inspired AI, has shown that artificial intelligence can not only match human performance on specific tasks, but can also contribute to scientific discovery in profound ways. AlphaFold is being used to accelerate research in labs around the world, demonstrating the power of interdisciplinary approaches. Takaaki Kajita and Arthur MacDonald revealed that neutrinos have mass. Neutrinos are ghostly particles that rarely interact with matter. Trillions pass through your body every second, almost all from the sun, and almost none of them interact. For decades, physicists thought neutrinos were massless, but in the 90s and early 2000s, experiments led by Takaaki Kajita in Japan and Arthur MacDonald in Canada discovered something unexpected. They found that neutrinos change type or flavor as they travel. Electron neutrinos can become muon or tau neutrinos, a phenomenon called oscillation. According to quantum mechanics, oscillation is only possible if neutrinos have mass. This discovery meant that the standard model of particle physics, which assumed massless neutrinos, was incomplete. Some new physics was needed to explain the masses. Kajita and MacDonald were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2015. Their discovery opened new questions. How do neutrinos get their mass? Are there additional types of neutrinos? What role did neutrinos play in the early universe? Neutrinos are abundant, and even a tiny mass means they contribute significantly to the universe's total mass. Understanding them is crucial to cosmology and particle physics. The discovery reminds us that even well-established theories can have surprises, and that careful experiments can reveal phenomena that transform our understanding. Lisa Randall explores extra dimensions and the nature of dark matter. Lisa Randall is a theoretical physicist who has worked on some of the most speculative ideas in physics. She has proposed models in which our universe is a four-dimensional membrane embedded in a higher dimensional space. Extra dimensions could help explain why gravity is so much weaker than other forces. Randall's work, done with collaborator Raman Sundram, showed that extra dimensions could be relatively large and still evade detection if they are warped in the right way. Randall has also worked on dark matter, proposing that some of it might interact more than previously thought, forming structures like dark matter disks in galaxies. These ideas are speculative, but they are testable. Experiments are looking for signs of extra dimensions and for evidence of dark matter interactions. Randall's willingness to explore radical ideas pushes the boundaries of theoretical physics, opening possibilities that more conservative approaches might miss. Beyond her research, Randall has been a prominent science communicator, writing books for general audiences and advocating for science education and the inclusion of women in physics. She has spoken about the challenges women face in physics and worked to create more supportive environments. Randall's career illustrates that theoretical physics is not just about equations, but about imagination, the willingness to ask, what if, and follow the logic wherever it leads. May Britt Moser and Edvard Moser discovered grid cells in the brain. How do we know where we are? How does the brain create an internal map of space? In 2005, neuroscientists May-Britt Moser and Edvard Moser, working in Norway, discovered grid cells in the brains of rats. These neurons fire when the animal is at specific locations arranged in a hexagonal grid pattern. As the rat moves, different grid cells activate, creating a coordinate system for navigation. The Mosers, along with John O'Keefe, who discovered place cells that also help with navigation, were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 2014. Their work revealed how the brain represents space at the neural level. It also provided insights into neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, where navigation is often one of the first abilities lost. The discovery of grid cells is a beautiful example of how the brain solves complex problems. Evolution has equipped us with an internal GPS, a neural system that allows us to navigate our environment without conscious thought. Understanding how this system works opens possibilities for treating disorders and for building better AI navigation systems. The Mosers' work bridges neuroscience, psychology, and even architecture, since the way spaces are designed affects how easily we navigate them. Christiana Figueres orchestrated the Paris Climate Agreement. Science does not exist in a vacuum. The discoveries scientists make must eventually inform policy, especially on global challenges like climate change. Christiana Figueres, though not a scientist, played a crucial role in translating climate science into international action. As the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, she led the negotiations that resulted in the Paris Agreement in 2015. The Paris Agreement committed nearly every country to reducing greenhouse gas emissions and limiting global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius, above pre-industrial levels. It was a landmark achievement, the culmination of decades of climate diplomacy and scientific advocacy. Figueres worked tirelessly to bring together nations with conflicting interests, building consensus where many thought it impossible. Figueres has often spoken about the importance of optimism and determination in the face of global challenges. She has said that the climate crisis is the most difficult task we have ever given ourselves, but also that we can do it. Her work reminds us that science is not just about understanding the world, about using that understanding to create a better future. The climate scientists who documented the warming planet provided the data. Figures helped the world act on it. Sylvia Earle explored the oceans and became a champion for marine conservation. The ocean covers over 70% of Earth's surface, yet we have explored only a small fraction of it. Sylvia Earle, a marine biologist, has spent her life studying ocean ecosystems and advocating for their protection. She has logged thousands of hours underwater, studying coral reefs, marine life, and the impacts of human activity. In 1970, Earle led an all-female team living in an underwater habitat for 2 weeks, conducting research on the sea floor. She later set a depth record for solo diving, descending 1,000 meters in a specialized suit. Earle has discovered new species, documented ocean health, and witnessed firsthand the decline of marine ecosystems due to overfishing, pollution, and climate change. Earle has become a powerful voice for ocean conservation. She founded Mission Blue, an organization dedicated to creating marine protected areas, hope spots, around the world. She has argued that protecting the ocean is not just about saving fish and coral, but about preserving the life support system of the planet. The ocean produces much of the oxygen we breathe, regulates the climate, and provides food for billions. Earle's message is urgent. We must act now to protect the ocean before irreversible damage is done. David Suzuki communicated science and environmental issues for decades. David Suzuki is a geneticist, broadcaster, and environmental activist. who has spent more than 40 years making science accessible to the public. His television series, The Nature of Things, brought scientific topics into living rooms across Canada and beyond, covering everything from genetics to climate change to the mysteries of the brain. Suzuki has been a passionate advocate for environmental protection, arguing that humans are part of nature, not separate from it. He has spoken out on issues including deforestation, climate change, and pollution, often clashing with politicians and corporations. His activism has sometimes made him a controversial figure, but his dedication to science communication is undeniable. Suzuki's work bridges the gap between scientists and the public. He has shown that science is not an elite pursuit, but something that affects everyone. His ability to explain complex ideas clearly, his passion for the natural world, and his urgency about environmental issues have inspired generations to think more deeply about humanity's relationship with the planet. He has received numerous awards and remains active in his 90s, still speaking out for a sustainable future. Reflections on scientific legacy. Science is a collective endeavor built by countless individuals over centuries. The scientists we have explored tonight represent just a fraction of those who have contributed to human knowledge. For every famous name, there are hundreds of lesser-known researchers whose work was equally essential. Science is not the work of lone geniuses, but of communities working together, building on each other's discoveries, sometimes competing, often collaborating. Science progresses through both breakthroughs and incremental work. We often celebrate the dramatic moments: Darwin's theory, Einstein's relativity, Watson and Crick's double helix. But most scientific progress happens gradually, through careful experiments, small refinements, and the accumulation of evidence. The technicians who maintain equipment, the graduate students who collect data, the colleagues who review papers, all contribute to the process. Science is as much about patience and persistence as it is about flashes of insight. The greatest scientists shared certain qualities. They were curious, asking questions others took for granted. They were rigorous, demanding evidence, rather than accepting claims on authority. They were creative, seeing connections and possibilities others missed. And they were persistent, continuing despite failures, skepticism, and setbacks. Many faced opposition, whether from entrenched dogma, prejudice, or simple misunderstanding, yet they continued, driven by a desire to understand. Science is self-correcting, but not infallible. Scientists make mistakes. They propose theories that turn out to be wrong. They miss patterns that later seem obvious. But science has a mechanism for correcting errors: peer review, replication, and the demand for evidence. Over time, wrong ideas are discarded and right ones refined. This self-correction is science's greatest strength. It means that scientific knowledge, while never final or absolute, becomes progressively more accurate. The history of science is full of examples. Phlogiston, the supposed substance released during burning, was replaced by oxygen. The geocentric universe gave way to the heliocentric model, and then to the understanding that we orbit an ordinary star in an ordinary galaxy among billions. Each correction brought us closer to reality. This process continues today. Dark matter and dark energy, for example, may one day be understood in ways we cannot yet imagine. Science is a human endeavor, shaped by society and culture. Scientists are people with biases, ambitions, and limitations. They live in particular times and places, influenced by the prevailing beliefs and values of their societies. For much of history, science was the province of wealthy men with the leisure to pursue it. This meant that perspectives from women, people of color, and the working class were excluded to the detriment of science. Only in recent decades has science begun to become more inclusive. Women like Rosalind Franklin, Marie Curie, and Barbara McClintock faced barriers that their male colleagues did not. Scientists of color like Katherine Johnson and Neil deGrasse Tyson had to overcome discrimination to make their contributions. The fact that their achievements are celebrated today reflects progress, but also highlights how much talent was wasted in the past due to prejudice. The diversity of scientists matters not just for fairness, but for the quality of science itself. Different perspectives lead to different questions, different approaches, and different insights. A more inclusive scientific community is a more innovative one. As we move forward, ensuring that science welcomes people from all backgrounds is not just a moral imperative, but a practical necessity. Science raises ethical questions that scientists must grapple with. The power to understand nature is also the power to manipulate it. This brings responsibility. The scientists who developed nuclear weapons, genetic engineering, and artificial intelligence opened doors that cannot be closed. Their discoveries can be used for good or ill, to heal or to harm. Scientists today face questions their predecessors never imagined. Should we edit the genes of human embryos? How should artificial intelligence be regulated? What are our responsibilities to future generations facing climate change? There are no easy answers. Science can tell us what is possible, but it cannot tell us what is right. Those decisions require ethical reflection, public debate, and democratic decision-making. Scientists have a responsibility to communicate their findings clearly, to engage with society, and to consider the implications of their work. But ultimately, how we use scientific knowledge is a choice we all must make together. The future of science is open and full of possibility. Despite all that we have learned, there is so much we do not know. What is dark matter? How did life begin? Is there life elsewhere in the universe? What is consciousness? Can we develop sustainable energy sources to power civilization? How can we cure diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's? These are just some of the questions that future scientists will explore. New tools and technologies will enable discoveries we cannot yet anticipate. Quantum computers may solve problems that seem impossible today. Space telescopes will peer deeper into the universe's past. Gene editing might eliminate genetic diseases. Artificial intelligence might accelerate scientific discovery itself, finding patterns in data too complex for humans to see. The scientists of tomorrow will build on the foundation laid by those we have discussed tonight, pushing the boundaries of knowledge ever outward. But they will also face challenges. Climate change threatens ecosystems and societies. Pandemics remind us of our vulnerability. Misinformation and distrust of expertise pose dangers to public health and policy. Science alone cannot solve these problems, but it is essential to any solution. The next generation of scientists will need not only technical skill, but also the wisdom to use their knowledge responsibly and the courage to speak truth in the face of opposition. Science connects us to the cosmos and to each other. When we look through a telescope and see the light from a distant galaxy, we are seeing photons that have traveled for billions of years across the universe to reach our eyes. When we sequence a genome, we are reading a code written over billions of years by evolution. Science reveals connections between stars and atoms, between species and ecosystems, between past and present. These connections remind us that we are part of something larger. The atoms in our bodies were forged in stars. The DNA in our cells links us to every living thing. The air we breathe was created by ancient microbes and plants. We are not separate from nature, but woven into its fabric. Science gives us the tools to see these connections, to understand our place in the universe. It also reminds us of our shared humanity. Science is a global enterprise. The experiments described tonight involved collaboration across borders, between people of different languages, cultures, and beliefs. The Large Hadron Collider, the International Space Station, the Human Genome Project. These were not the work of one nation, but of humanity working together. In a world often divided by politics and conflict, science offers a vision of what we can achieve when we cooperate. The story of science is ultimately a story of hope. It is the story of humans using reason and imagination to understand the world, to solve problems, to heal the sick, to feed the hungry, to explore the unknown. It is the story of persistence in the face of uncertainty, of courage in the face of opposition, and of humility in the face of the vastness of what we do not know. Every scientist we have discussed tonight, from Aristotle to the researchers working today, contributed to this ongoing story. They asked questions, sought answers, and shared what they learned. Some were celebrated, others overlooked. Some saw the impact of their work, others did not live to see it. But all were driven by curiosity, by the desire to understand, by the hope that knowledge could make the world better. As you lie here, letting these stories wash over you, consider the long chain of discovery that brought us to this moment. Consider the minds that looked at the stars, peered into microscopes, wrote equations, conducted experiments, all so that we might know a little more about the universe and ourselves. Consider that this work continues, that new discoveries are being made even now, that the story is far from over. And perhaps, as you drift towards sleep, you might feel a connection to that great human project. You, too, are made of stardust, a conscious arrangement of atoms pondering its own existence. You, too, can ask questions, seek understanding, and contribute in your own way to the collective knowledge of our species. The spirit of curiosity that drove the greatest scientists is not confined to laboratories and universities. It lives in anyone who looks at the world and wonders why, or how, or what if. Closing thoughts. And so, dear listener, our journey through the lives and minds of the greatest scientists comes to a close. We have traveled from ancient Greece to the cutting edge of 21st century research. We have met astronomers and biologists, physicists and chemists, mathematicians and physicians. We have seen how they built on each other's work, how they challenged assumptions, how they revealed truths about the cosmos and about life. Science is not finished. It is never finished. Each answer leads to new questions, each discovery to new mysteries. The universe is vast and intricate, full of wonders we are only beginning to comprehend. Dark matter fills the space between galaxies. Quantum entanglement links particles across distances. Life might exist on moons orbiting distant planets. Consciousness emerges from the dance of neurons. We stand at the threshold of understanding so much, yet we have barely begun. The scientists of the future will be the children learning in classrooms today, the students working in labs tonight, the thinkers not yet born who will ask questions we cannot yet imagine. They will use tools we are only now inventing, exploring realms that still seem like science fiction. They will face challenges we hope they are prepared for, and they will make discoveries that transform the world in ways we cannot predict. But they will stand on the shoulders of those who came before. They will read Darwin and Einstein, Curie and Hawking. They will learn from the triumphs and mistakes of past generations. And they will add their own chapters to the story, pushing human knowledge forward, one experiment, one observation, one insight at a time. As your eyes grow heavy and your thoughts begin to drift, imagine the long arc of human understanding, stretching from the first humans who looked up at the stars and wondered, to the scientists working tonight under fluorescent lights, or the glow of computer screens, seeking answers to questions both ancient and new. You are part of that story, connected to every curious mind that ever asked why. Let the calm of discovery settle over you. Let the sense of connection to these brilliant minds, to the vast cosmos they explored, to the intricate workings of nature they revealed, bring you peace. The universe is knowable. Reality, for all its strangeness, follows rules we can discover. And in that knowledge, in that grand human project of understanding, there is both humility and wonder. Close your eyes now and let yourself drift. The scientists who came before have lit candles in the darkness, illuminating the path of understanding. Their work continues, and so does the journey of discovery. But for now, you can rest, comforted by the knowledge that humans have always sought to understand, have always questioned, have always reached for truth. Good night, and may you dream of distant galaxies and tiny atoms, of evolution and relativity, of the beautiful, intricate, knowable universe we are so fortunate to inhabit.